All right, so not expecting anybody, so that's all right. Let's see. I should probably grab that link too. So just give me another minute or so. Bring up the table. Anyway, this is where I got it from, right here. So okay, where do I start? I actually printed this on sketch paper, so I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, but it printed it perfectly. So that's really cool. Um, I think I'm not going to be able to use markers on it. Not that I was really planning on it, but you're probably not going to be able to use them because of the ink being used in a printer. So I'm just going to use color pencils. I think I'm probably going to try to stick with Prismacolors here as much as possible. But, yeah, let's just get started here. Let's get started. So as I said, I sketched. I printed this on sketch paper. This is a digital line work, so I have here is this guy. Now I did spend quite a lot of money for this, but apparently Amazon's able to undercut everybody by about 50 to 75%. So if you're looking for something like that, just go to Amazon. You can buy this tin for like $25 now. It's crazy. I paid more than that with a 60% off. So before I really get into it, let me check the bandwidth hog here. That is a Twitch interface. Make sure nothing's good. That's all set. So I also have a bunch of these Crayolas. Do work really well. So if money is a concern, just go to the store and buy like a 50 pack or 75 pack of Crayola colored pencils. You'll be good to go for a while here. I'll be doing a lot of the coloring here with those. So the first thing here is, well, figuring out what kind of colors you want to use here. So let's see. I'm thinking I'm probably going to want to do like some silver and gold here. Certain parts over here, the metal parts for the horses. It's Valentine themed, so there's probably going to be some red and pink in there. So figure that out. But I'm probably going to keep the horses like a brown color. I'm thinking if I do like a pink sort of theme for the dress here, and these are based on video game characters, but I'm just gonna kind of do my own color scheme. Care about the accuracy of the colors when trying to match them up with that. But so if I do something with pink and maybe a little bit of red in here, like I'm figuring if this is going to be like a light color, probably going to have a lighter color for the horse. And if I say do a darker color over here, then I'm probably going to go with a darker horse here. And not really sure what I'm going to do with the manes. I could probably color the manes. I could use that as an exercise in blending. I could do maybe a little bit of blending for the horse here, but it may not resolve very well since there's a lot of detail in here. So, but the hair I can certainly get away with a little bit. So then you gotta kind of resolve, is this part here actually hair? This is probably hair. This is just some kind of tiara, I guess. But there's also these little dangly bits here, so they're like kind of hanging off of there. This could be some kind of a wrap, because there's also a piece over here. So this part could be a wrap, and then it could be the rest of it could be hair. So like this could be a veil of some sort. So let's go ahead and assume that this is like some kind of a veil here. So that's gonna coincide with whatever color scheme I come up with in here. He's got some kind of a bandana going on there, so that's gonna be incorporated into this here. So there's an arm here. Got a hand over here. Let's see. That's really about it, I think. So what we'll start with is light color. We'll just do the skin tone. So this is a light peach prism color. This works really good for light skin tones. Still have not really found out what works in Prismacolor for, like, say, a darker skin tone, maybe tanned or brown. So as soon as anybody shows up, anybody knows, could pass that information along to me, and it would be greatly appreciated. But I'm banking on people not knowing that. This feels really weird streaming without any kind of music in the background. Well, alright, so you can already see that you go over the lines even a little bit, it's really obscuring the ink. So is that a glove? That might be he might be wearing a glove there. So what we're gonna do with this is just be really careful not to hit the lines. You're using such a light color, it can be a challenge. So something I go over quite a few times is how to hold your pencil and stuff like, if you're doing broader strokes, you don't want to use your fingertips like this. You want to use your wrist or even your arm, or maybe even the whole thing up from the shoulder down. If you're doing really fine work, you can get away with this, and the issue is this is incredibly unstable because there's so many joints in here, obviously, and then the pitch of your writing utensil will change as you move around. So you want things to be more consistent and very straight and stuff. Like if you're just drawing lines stuff, then you really don't want to be using your fingertips at all. It's natural to use those fingertips, but doesn't it doesn't help you out, again, unless you're doing some really fine work. And you can, there's other things too, like if you can't draw a straight line, what you can do to begin with is to just draw a series of really short lines. And to a point, that's what people do when doing very detailed work anyway, so it's still something to consider. So let's see, is there any other spare parts that I don't see any. So I'm going to get these little blushes out of the way. See if I want to go with red or a pink color here. Let's see, there's poppy red. Could try that. So little scraps of sketch paper. I just try the stuff out on. Try this hot pink out too, see how that looks. This might be pretty good for the dress here. So since we're dealing with the round shape over here, I'm just kind of drawing little circles. Okay. Let's see. Now we're gonna do some of the gold and silver elements here. So I'm looking at options that I have in here. I also have an option right here. But what I might do, let's see, because I bought another Prismacolor set. It's a manga set. So this is a sunburst yellow. I've been using this for a lot of the gold pieces in here. So I think something like this will work pretty good. I turn the pencil a lot too, so I try to keep a consistent point on it. That way you're not sitting there sharpening like every 5 or 6 strokes or whatever. That's just wasteful. So if you just kind of do this, turn the pencil every once in a while, you'll be changing the surface and hopefully keep things really consistent. During my brief stint in doing drafting work in high school, it's one of the first things that I was taught. So, like I was taught to draw a straight line, and you turn the pencil as you're drawing along to maintain that sharp tip. Just something that stuck with me for over 20 years. But let's see. So there are going to be quite a few metal parts in here, it seems. So I'll just get them out of the way. Might need to make myself a nice sharp tip here, so this is another method you can employ. You can just kind of color something and you spin the pencil as you're doing this, so that'll start to work up a tip for you. Again, rather than, taking all this stuff away just to make a sharp tip, it's wasteful. I keep doing stuff like this and probably should get like a Monster Cat license or something. It really needs to be sharp. There's a lot of detail in it. Great thing about these Prismacolors is how vivid the colors are. So. Hopefully as I go along here, I'll remind myself and other people where you can get this piece of line art from. So you can go ahead and color it too. Based on Fire Emblem characters, I guess, so. I just feel so naked without any music. Let's see here. Do that. Be these here. It's drawn really well. One thing I would like to point out is part of the reason why this line art looks so good is because you have varying line thicknesses in here. So it's like really thick here, then it thins out as you go up, and it makes the image look a lot less static. So that's something to really consider if you're doing some line work of your own. There are different methods you can employ. With digital, it's really simple. If you have a tablet with pressure sensitivity, you can just use that. Although that does take a lot of practice. You'll spend many frustrating days or evenings trying to get proper control out of it. But once you get there and you've pretty much mastered it, it'll be pretty easy for you. I think maybe over here. Well, I'll leave that alone. Let's see, what else in here is obviously metal color. So we're looking at these elements here. We'll do the horses next. Sure we got all the parts done. I don't know if this piece over here is part of her necklace or not. I'm going to go ahead and assume it is. Alright, so I was going to do a lighter horse here and a darker color here. I could maybe go for something, what is this here? This is called ginger root. To try that out. So silver there. Do I have a silver in here? Probably not. I don't think there is. So I'm going to do these pieces here. Oh, that'll be pretty good. Something you're going to find with Prismacolors is you don't have to use a whole lot of pressure because there's a lot of pigment. It was kind of tough explaining that to my niece because she's used to using cheaper pencils and just was really digging down hard on it and was wearing down a bunch of the Prismacolors I got her. And I'm like, well, you don't need quite that much pressure. You'll get the same color coverage and just going a little bit lighter. I mean, again, if you get them at Amazon, they're relatively cheap, but why waste it? So we're gonna try this out. I don't know, what do you think? I think it's a pretty good color to my eye. Monitor, I'm not really sure. It looks pretty good to me. Whether this other horse is going to be darker. I don't know if I want to, I'm not sure if I want to do any blending on the horse. I'm thinking probably not, but So I could do something cool with the legs here. Let's see. See, I don't really have any. There's some brown colors, but they're too dark. So this, but I think this beige is going to be too light. Yeah, I might be able to get away with that. So let's see. It's gonna be really light. But what I'm doing is, so I'm kind of planning out in my head maybe where this joint is here. It's maybe where the transition's going to start. So what I'm doing is I'm laying a heavier shade over here, and as I move up, I ease up on the pencil. And I'm going to go past that point. And then I'm going to do the opposite with the darker color. I'm going to go heavier here, and I'm going to go a little bit lighter in here, and I'm just going to go past that as well. So you're going to have a very subtle blending effect. And I might add a little bit of color in here too on the bottom part. It depends how things turn out. But as I'm going up over into here, I'm doing it really, really lightly. And again, these colors are very similar here, and they're not particularly bold, so you're not going to see too much of an effect. But there'll still be something there. Just wanted to stick with a lighter colored horse here, so. And again, paying some mind of that I'm turning the pencil every once in a while to even out the wear. I mean, there are times where you want a nice flat edge so you can cover a lot of ground here, but that's not going to happen in here until you get into this part, which I may or may not put a gradient into. So you can see this on the camera here. Yeah, it's kind of showing up on there. You can see how it kind of fades a little bit. So I'll start doing the same thing in here. With other elements in the scene, it's kind of have to really figure out where you want to start easing up on it. So you just take your time, and eventually, if you go lighter and use more strokes, you have more control over what you're putting down. So curse you, YouTube. I would really like to play some music right now. So you do see a little bit of a transition here. Again, the colors are very similar, so it can be a little tough to convey, but works better when you're using contrasting or complementary colors that aren't too similar to each other. You can have a really nice effect going on. So sometimes you'll change your decision as you're going along. Don't have to be rigid about this. So if you feel it's not quite working out and you can still work in some stuff there, then you can just go ahead and do it. like this color, but I want to add a little bit of something bold to it maybe, so. Your direction in coloring can influence the way things look as well. As you're coloring, you're flattening out the grain of the paper. So like if you go this way, whereas all this stuff is going up and down, you kind of go side to side over here, you can almost kind of notice that you did that. You'll see things look just a little bit different, so you kind of want to follow along the way things might naturally fall. It won't make that much difference, but you will see something. And if you're interested in where this line art came from, should probably do that now. I'll just put that up periodically so you can check it out. Let's see. Is this right here? If you want a link, I'll throw a link in the chat. Free Valentine's Day themed line art. So, and again, it's done really well. To see if she accepts commissions. As long as she's not charging like $50 to draw something out. Like something this simple, I wouldn't expect to pay quite that much, but. Alright, just gonna look at some of the browns here. There's a brown with just quite a little bit of red in there. I'm thinking this might be a good start for the other horse. It's a darker, yeah, it's an umber. I was gonna say, that looks like umber. It's a light umber. There's another one in here that, let's see, look at this here. Sienna brown. Chocolate. It's real deep. So in this case, I may have to use some Crayolas. This one here. Yeah. Let's see, where do I want to go with that? There's not much left to add. So I'm just put in as much value as I can without it looking too strange. So yeah, another important consideration is something that I find myself doing a lot is you don't want to grip the pencil too hard. You'll find that your hand gets tired pretty quick if you're really gripping it hard. And I do have that habit from time to time, so I have to remind myself to ease up on it a little bit. Alright, so this top part, probably just gonna add this value throughout. And in here, I might add something with a little bit of red in it. So you have this burnt ochre. Probably give that a little bit of a shot here. Don't like how these are pre-sharpened. They're real stubby, so to give myself a little more surface area. You're sharpening your pencil. You turn this. You turn the sharpener. You don't turn the pencil. You want the pencil to be as straight as possible. You don't want it jerking around. That gives you more chances of it breaking. So you turn the tool. That does the job. These are like $1, and they work really well. So don't spend time on one of these. I have one. Don't just time. What am I talking? Well, yeah, time sorta. Don't spend more money on one of these. You know, they don't work any better. In fact, I had a lot of trouble with this when I first started out with it. It's not. It's kind of unwieldy. This thing is just. It's right there. You just turn it. So I'm just gonna. This is a Prismacolor, so it has a lot of pigment in it. So just wanna take it easy. Just remember, light strokes done more often gives you more control over what you're putting down. You know, it's a reason why. One of the reasons why I've started a stream like this is, you know, people would ask me, well, how do you do that? How do you do that blending? You know, how do you get this to look like such and such? And it's like, well, instead of going over it time and time and time again, why don't I just do a video? I'm gonna put this on Twitch as a highlight and move it over to YouTube. And I mean, I'll still help people and you know, go over these things, but you'll be able to watch a whole stream where I'm doing this sort of stuff, and it won't go away. So it'll always be there as long as YouTube and Twitch are around. It'll still be on the servers. So you can say, oh, you know, this is how I do it. But you know, if you want to catch all this stuff in one stream and you know, not have to wait for another one to show up, you just go there instead. So now you get some kind of a transition going there. So it doesn't look as much like a static image. Looks really cool on the screen, actually. Really happy with that. But you know, I added colors because this wasn't popping enough for some reason. You know, just the two colors were too similar to each other, so I figured, well, let me just punch it up a little bit. You'll find that as you go along. You're not whatever you have set in your mind, it's never quite gonna be the way it turns out on a paper. So part of mastering this kind of stuff is knowing that sometimes you have to shift gears, or you know, just kind of changing things up a bit. So let's see, those two. There's a Crayola light brown. I don't know if I'm going to still use that for this horse. This is even darker than that other one I looked at. But let's see. So, ooh, that's really dark. I might use those for the hoofs and the leather parts here for the horses, saddles and stuff. This is it's really close to that. It's this color. It's more reddish. I think these two would be a pretty good transition. Maybe I'll make really sure that this light in here, or maybe I'll even use one of these values in here and just kind of color this. This is another way you could kind of blend it too. It'll be a harder transition, but still a pretty cool effect. So if I use this one, let's see here. So I'll do the same thing. Somewhere around in these joints in here is where it's going to be a transition point. So I'm just going to lay down a little bit of value here. I'm going to start at the center of where I want the transition to be. Just kind of color it in a little bit. I should probably be lower. Go. And just kind of branch out from there and just go a little bit lighter as you move away from it. Doesn't seem like it'll make a lot of difference now, but it will. And it's going to be more of a hard transition unless you're actively doing this as you go along. Purposely put in a harder transition point, so not much of an effect now, but as I add the colors to it, you'll see something there. And you know, maybe this value is too dark. I have no idea yet. So let's see here. This is this color here. So Might do something the opposite of that, of this horse here. This is this second color here, so I'll stick with this here. That'll be for saddles and stuff. This Tuscan red. There's not much red in it. It's pretty much a brown. All right. So this shade's going to be in here. For this, I'm trying to lay a uniform color in to blend it at first. Going extremely light here because it's a Prismacolor. Being very mindful of the edge, the lead here. You could get a really sharp point going on. It's worn down on one side, so I'm just being really slow and deliberate about this. But just laying down something uniform. And I'll start to go a little bit heavier down here along the bottom. Yeah, this is really cool. I didn't think this was gonna turn out this good with the printing. Just using sketch paper. So I wanted to use sketch or drawing paper because there's more. It's a lot rougher of a texture than like say copy paper or inkjet paper. So coloring on inkjet paper, you're not going to get much of an effect there. You're not going to get much grain or anything. So I wanted to do this line art without having to trace stuff beforehand. So I figured, well, why don't I just print on the sketch paper? It doesn't cost hardly anything, so it worked out really well. It's cool. So you can see there's a harder transition there, but there's still a transition. And up here is going to be this color. This also has this has a really flat edge on it. Might use that to my advantage here. So in this case, I won't be turning the pencil at all. But at some point things are gonna get real janky here, so I'm gonna have to do something about it. You probably can't tell here, but I'm not going straight back and forth. I'm making little tiny circles as I go along. For this belly here, I'm probably just going to add a little bit more value along the bottom part. Just a little bit more. So it doesn't look completely static. Yeah, I'm trying to find the edge here. I kind of lost it a little bit. Again, if you take your time, your experience will be a lot better if you just take your time and be a little patient and treat it serious. May only be coloring, but keep it serious. You'll do a better job. You make some mistakes, oh well, you make mistakes. There. Now you have a harder transition point in here, but there's still some blending going on in here. Still have not decided what kind of colors I'm going to use for the dude here. So no idea what I want to do. Maybe something royal like blues and purples. It's not very Valentine-y, but it's okay. He's got a bouquet of roses, so still sticking with the theme. I mean, you do want something to contrast this, so I'm really thinking it's going to be like a little bit of red, pink, and maybe just some white over here. Just do darker colors. And that's going along with, like with the horses, it's going to be a light horse, so the colors are going to be a little bit more lighter here. Got a darker horse, so the colors of the guys can be a little bit darker. So I'll have to look at the posting, but I think I have to like kind of scan this or something, upload it, and attach credit to the person who did the line work. I'll have to look into that. Like if you want to post it, give credit to the. It's obvious. All right. So what do we do with the hooves? Probably. Well, let's get the leather done first. Chat. Rip chat. Again, with fine work, you can use your fingertips. That's fine because you're really not going very far with it. So, but as I get longer, I do tend to use the wrist as a pivot point instead of the fingers. So, there's way too many people there. They're doing all of this kind of stuff throughout, and wondering why this stuff doesn't look very consistent, and maybe everything looks like a potato, or even with coloring. Yeah, it's important to leverage what you have. Looks like there's some kind of a buckle in there. Let's see, this part here needs to be done. Part of the challenge is figuring out, what these lines represent, throughout the piece, and figuring out what needs what value. Let's see. So yeah, in other news, right now I'm about 95% certain that I know what the issue was with my 12-inch monitor, why it kept going out during the last stream. Did I put that thing? This is the adapter that it came with, and it was always running really, 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 really hot. And I had a suspicion, so I laid this up against a metal leg on this table here to act as a heatsink, and it ran better. Then I used a 12 volt 1 amp adapter, and that started to get really hot after a few hours. So it's like I just gotta find one that has at least the same amperage rating as what the monitor is. So I managed to get a hold of a 2 amp adapter. And that one, it only gets hot near the center, and by hot, I don't know, like maybe 100 degrees or so. I mean, I got my foot on it right now. It's warm, but it's working out a lot better. I would have the monitor on for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. It would never go off, and the adapter really isn't getting hot at all. So yeah, you like it? I really when I saw it yesterday, I was like, I gotta color this. And as you have noticed, I'm not doing any music. I want to upload this to YouTube and turn it into kind of like a how-to type of thing. Let's see, black. Maybe I'll do the hooves black, but I won't go too heavy with it. Yeah, so Prismacolor blacks right here. And again, just to kind of go over this real quick, I trimmed. This is sketch paper, so I trimmed the sketch paper and I slapped it in a printer, and it came out great. Now, one thing you do have to be careful about these is many times these are going to come in a PNG format, So if you're if you're gonna print something in a PNG, um, with viewers that don't translate alpha channels properly, the background's going to be black. So all the outside over here is going to be black as well. So you have to drop it into an image editor. You can get a free one, no problem. You put a white layer on the bottom of that, and then now you got the outside filled in white. And then from there you can just print it. I just put it in the printer and it just came out. It didn't smudge or anything. I was like, awesome. I can print this stuff on sketch paper. I don't have to be constrained to um, like copy paper or inkjet paper. You can get your full effect on your sketch paper using the color pencils. So pretty cool. Yeah, it is. It's from Fire Emblem. Um, let me show the page again. If anybody's interested, I can drop a link in the chat. Yeah, Jello, she's doing a lot better. We figured out some things. She can talk about it if she wishes, but I'm I'm relieved to hear about it, even though it's not the best news in the world. At least it's better than what could be, So, but let's see. Go back to here. This is the artwork right here. If you download it here, you have the full size, and I do have. This is the actual image here. It's huge. It's 4K. But she did a really good job with the line art. It's really good. I'm really impressed. Is it 100% perfect? No, but I remarked about this when I first put this up when I first started the stream, where she's not using one uniform brush width. She's varying it, and that makes for a better picture. So, all right, let's switch back to that, and we'll continue. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's a guy I'm somewhat friends with at work, and I see him every Wednesday, and I've been kind of keeping him up to date on this and that as things have been going on, because he's been trying to help me out with like bed and breakfast or a hotel room or something like that, because Vamp wants to come by in May and meet up. So he's like, yeah, I got a line in with timeshares, and I got people I can ask and search engines I can check through and stuff like that. So yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate it. But I've been keeping him up to date on that, because the girl he's seeing went through some, I don't know, since she had breast cancer or something like that, like 15 years ago or something. And I think he said Wednesday that when she was being treated, they gave her a death sentence of like 5 years, and that was like 15 years ago. But like, he was telling me that he kind of went through a similar situation. He when he met her, and he ended up, I guess he just like ended up moving in with her and helping her out with things, and kind of help her get through the sickness and stuff. And they're still together. It's pretty cool. So he's emphasizing with or empathizing, I should say, empathizing with the situation. So I mean, I don't tell him everything, but keep him informed of stuff that's going on. He's like, yeah, maybe you should just like go up and see her. I got, I've thought about it. It's not out of the realm of possibility for sure, and I've never been out that way, so gotta gotta go out and see new places once in a while, you know? So yeah, I'm using the Prismacolor black, and I'm gonna leave the center as a little bit lighter value to kind of spice it up a little bit. But I'm doing one uniform value to start out with, and then I just kind of go around the outside here. I probably went a little bit too dark there, but there we go. That's a little bit better. So yeah, no music. I want to put this up on YouTube and share it with everybody and stuff like that, so that I don't see like, well, you got 2 weeks to see the VOD. If I have it on YouTube, it won't go anywhere, and I'll have it highlighted here on Twitch as well, so then people can check it out. I could even rebroadcast it or whatever, so you can see how there's you get your value changes in there. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other four hoofs there. It's really sweet reading chat. It's really sweet. Gosh, I felt so bad last night when I got home. I won't get into why, but current events and news and stuff like that, and it is important that people talk about it. I just I mean, I was sick to my stomach at one point, really. Having a niece and two nephews that are school age. It's important not to dwell on it, though. You don't want it to paralyze you. And again, it's not, I don't know, not really something I wish to discuss, but I'm sure everybody pretty much knows. Just kind of leave it at that. We'll say that I'm gonna be taking a more active stance in certain things, so. Been a bystander for way too long. Being so cynical and thinking, well, nothing I do is gonna make a difference. Well, when too many people think that way, then nothing does make a difference, so. I'm trying to work in a mantra for this year is to be the change that you want to see. So I've already done that a little bit here and there. It's mostly going to be applied to artwork and stuff. So we got our hooves there, and what else do we want to do in here? Maybe just do shades of gray or something, because I don't want to use another brown. Everything's gonna blend in really crazily. So I think I'm just gonna go a little bit lighter here. Just do a little bit of dark in here. Keep this a little bit lighter. Remember, Prismacolors. You're working with Prismacolors. Go really light. Take your time, because I really lay down a lot of color. Like this sunburst yellow over here. I was purposely pressing down on it rather hard. You can see how vivid that color is. I just use the black here as an example of just I'm just letting it glide And then if I want to go darker, I'm still not pressing down very hard, but then get like into this here. And then you press like really hard. That's huge. You really want to take it easy when you're using these. It's one reason why it's like if you're kind of learning the stuff. What did I do with my sunburst yellow? Put it in the wrong place. Just don't know where it is. Hold on. Yeah. Where was I going? If you're learning the stuff, use the Crayolas. They do have really good color. You do have to use more pressure to get more color down, but they're more forgiving in that regard. So, and if your kid wants Prismacolors, you can get them on Amazon for a decent price. I wouldn't learn on them. At least, not unless you're like, oh, maybe 12, 13, 14 or something like that. If you're a little bit younger, just get the Crayolas. Don't listen to what some frou-frou people say about Crayolas, that's kid stuff. Well, you can... I have a lot of good stuff. It's done in Crayola. And don't, there's no reason to bag on it. They're cheap, and they're easy to control, and they have good color. How can you beat that? Alright, so where was I going with this? There was this here. Not sure if that's, that's probably part of his boot. Probably. Okay. And I'm really thinking this is a glove here. Alright, let me catch up with chat here real quick. Yeah, makes you want to homeschool kids. Yeah, sorta. Yeah, I agree, Jello. I do. Something still needs to be done. And unfortunately, what's kind of being pushed by a lot of people is to just add more fuel to the fire. I left a remark on Twitter saying something to the effect of, well, if you want to put out a fire, you don't pour gasoline on it. So, while taking away all guns is not going to solve anything, there needs to be certain checks put in place. Stuff's happening way too often now, and nothing at all is being done about it. That's what's really frustrating. Something needs to be done. It's as simple as implementing a national database and placing controls on certain ways to sell weapons and stuff like that. That will come a long way. Because as it is right now, you can't take the stuff away anyway because the people already have it. So you just have to, it's like it's in a lot of ways it's easier to get a firearm than it is to get a driver's license. It shouldn't be the way it is. But again, we'll not get too far into it because it's not really It's not really the place to do it. Last night I really wanted to like just do a stream and spout off on it, and I'm like, you know, there is a time and place for it. So I just, you know, decided I was just going to be more proactive in certain things. Let's see. So am I done with the browns? I was thinking with the manes and the tails here to like just do different colors other than brown, but I'm not sure. It's still a possibility. Let's see, let me put these away. So I don't remember where these went, so I'm just gonna start putting some stuff away. That's the Crayola one. Let's put that there, put this over here. Yeah. I don't think we're too far gone. But it's like you can implement change, but it can't be like a hard, abrupt, hardcore change that goes like in the opposite direction. You know? You just say like from here on forward there's new policy for new stuff. You know? Existing stuff you're just gonna have to grandfather it in, so to speak. You know, but you know. And you know, the last time this really came to the forefront and Congress actually did something about it, you know what it took? It took a president getting shot. That's what it took. That's the eye-opener, you know? When you could just be checking out a concert in Las Vegas and some guy in a hotel just shoots down at people and there's like and nothing's done for that. It's like, is that what it's gonna take? Is it gonna take an assassination attempt on the damn president for anything, for any dialogue to take place, let alone any kind of policy writing, just dialogue? Because you have one side going, this is a tragedy and we need to do something about it, and the other side is like saying, don't say anything yet, we gotta pray for the families. It's like, no, you gotta fucking have a dialogue, you gotta do something about it. You know, we didn't hire you guys to sit around and make neat talking points on TV. It's terrible. It's like what Governor Scott was saying yesterday, and in contrast to what the sheriff was saying. You know, the sheriff pretty much threw policy into Scott's face without actually disrespecting him. So when the sheriff is able to say what the politician can't, you know there's something wrong. And it's policies like that scattered all across the country that's just screwing everybody over. It's amazing. It's just the government is corrupt. That is what the problem is. Everything stems from that. Everything stems from the money flow. But oh god damn it! It's trying not to politicize this. I apologize. This is supposed to be for YouTube. It's gonna be on here, so what can you do? You know, it's not like I'm just recording something and okay, here's what we're gonna do. I mean, I could edit it, but we'll let it ride. We'll let it ride. It's okay. Have I watched Black Mirror? No, I've not. I've actually heard a lot of things about it. I don't have Netflix, and I don't intend to get Netflix at all. I don't watch any media other than whatever's on YouTube and on Twitch and stuff. I'm not really interested in TV shows and movies for the most part. I mean, in a way that kind of stifles my creativity in certain ways, but You know, that, I mean, that's a trade-off. Again, I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I don't know. It's like I just don't really have an interest in sitting down and just watching stuff. You know, even like with the stuff on YouTube or on Twitch, it's like I'm doing other things, you know. And if I want to follow along an actual story, you have to sit there and you have to pay attention to it. So, and you know, for me, I mean, it may sound hipster, but I can find better uses for my time than to do something like that. Because I have all kinds of ideas in my head already. So, no. But let's see. This is like some kind of tiara here. I'm thinking I should probably color that in as well. Just go with a uniform color. No blends or highlights or anything like that. I'll just color it in. Worry about it. And again, you know, just turning the pencil every so often just to try to even out the wear on the tip and keep things relatively uniform. Yeah, conceptual stuff actually really kind of bothers me. But I mean, that's whatever you guys are into, you're into, and I did hear a lot of good things about it, so I just don't have any interest in watching anything really. I like to spend a lot of my time just playing video games and watching people do stuff on Twitch and YouTube and learning stuff, and sometimes you feel left out, but I don't know. So you've got carmine red, poppy red. There's a different red here, crimson red. There's magenta. There's a couple of Prismacolors in here as well, so I'm gonna check them out. And you know, I mean, Netflix has a pretty good thing going. Although it's kind of some of the stuff is hit or miss. You know, they have some here they have some good TV shows, and then they come out with some really, really, really bad movies. And it's not really consistent with how things are going. Right, so let's see this blush pink. I'm gonna skip. Sure, red here. Sure, crimson red. Oh. Try these two. So what I use for the blush right here. Yeah, we'll use this. So I mentioned earlier that you know, I have little scrap pieces of this sketch paper here. You know, it's kind of important to lay stuff down on somewhere that you're not coloring, just to really see how these colors are going to look and interact with each other, so that you can make a better decision. And you can actually, you know, turn these into palettes too. You know, if you having trouble remembering what color is what, you can just kind of, make them a little bigger, make palettes, and just kind of write down what each one is. So watch Temple, it's really bad, has great production value and takes itself way too seriously. All right. So let's see. What I'm gonna do here is first I gotta figure out these elements here. So you have, point this out. You have a design here, so you're gonna have like whatever's in here, and then you have another sort of a color here. Have a third color here, or you can alternate that too, but might not look very clear. What I might do in here is like just leave this white, or use a really light cream color. Like let's see, this cream is probably too yellow, but might be able to get away with that. Just use that value for this in here, and then use probably use the red in here, and then do pink. And I'm gonna gradually lighten this up into being a very light value, so heavier up into light, just kind of make a transition. And probably do the same thing with this over here. There's like some kind of a cape or something going on in here. So this is going to take a while yet, for sure. It's going to be a very long stream. We're already at hour 34 minutes, so. I shouldn't say anything about Twitch's numbers, but you know, I got 1, 2. Let's see if I count Nightbot. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the number only says 2. That, folks, is why I completely gave up. That's why. So, I don't know if it's because of Twitch, but other people have been reporting similar things. Similar discrepancies. So, in foreseeable future, I'll still stay here and stream and stuff like that. I mean, there are people here, so why not? But if I want to turn it into something else, then I'm just gonna have to go somewhere else. As unfortunate as that is. But, we'll do this very light red in here. So maybe just do a solid value. So, you know, maybe this, maybe when I upload this to YouTube, it'll work out. Maybe not. I did upload, the last few uploads I did with YouTube, I had 0 views. That's just, it boggles my mind, really. It completely, these new policies over the years have completely killed the channel. It took all the steam out of it whatsoever, you know. It had a little bit of steam, and then I lost interest in the platform. But things were still going okay, I guess. And just over the years, things just started just getting worse and worse. And now it's like, now I post something, I get 0 fucking views on it. People are done pretty much with YouTube the way it is now, so I'm losing my partnership because don't have enough people. It's killing a lot of smaller people. It's pretty sad. That's why a lot of people are, for lack of a better term, they're whoring out to Patreon. And folks, I tried it. I tried it 3 years ago, and I didn't gain any traction. So it's still there. It's still kind of ready to go. But was not working out. Had a really good discussion with a fellow streamer about the whole thing. Not really about Patreon specifically, but just talk about streaming and gaining viewers and stuff like that. It's really, really, really tough for somebody like me to get anywhere. But trying to think of any other maybe new techniques that I haven't talked about yet. It's a really sharp edge on that. I really need to fix it before it gets bad. Kind of doing the opposite here that I did before. Want to dull it out so that I can cover more area. And I could also just kind of hold the pen like this. I'll show you that too. The pencil. You angle it like this, you get more surface area. But obviously, you're not going to push in as much of the grain as you do if you have it like tilted more like this here. But you can cover a lot more ground a lot faster. Like this, I just hold it like this here. There's so like the thumb and the pointer finger are kind of like your stabilizer, and you just use your wrist. You hold this straight. You just use your wrist or your arm. Right now, it's like using the arm. Control a lot better that way. Try doing that. If you're just moving your fingers, you can't do it. Can't. I can see if I can employ it here. I'm just resting the fingers, and I'm just using the entire arm to do this. You can get to a point where you can really control it. Just takes a little time and practice to get good at it. That's all. It's actually not like a lot of other things that you deal with in life. It's like pretty much anybody, if you can hold a pencil and if you're not missing fingers and stuff like that, or you're not terribly palsied up with them, pretty much anybody can do this. Even if you have the shakes, you can still do this. Anybody can draw. Now, not everybody can draw well, but I can guarantee you everybody can draw. That is a fact. Everybody can. So don't say to yourself, I can't, I couldn't, or never do this. Yes, you can. Are you going to be the best in the world? Well, if you got 7 billion other people to compete with, well, probably not. But you can aspire to it. And if you aspire to it, you'll get better. Let's see. So that's gonna be. I'm gonna do a little bit of. Let's see, a little bit of this here. There's not much of a tip left on this. So you might actually have to sharpen this. Just might have to. Yeah, and you know, again, this is all going to be on the YouTube. I'm going to make a highlight on Twitch, and then I'm going to export it over to YouTube. The whole thing will be here, so it won't be edited, but you can check out the finer points of you know, what you got to do. And maybe sometime soon I'll do another stream where it's just me doing it, and maybe just like doing something a little bit less complicated and just go over the techniques. And just do like a 10-minute video or something like that, you know. Or even just, you know, stream it and say, okay, you know, I won't be really interacting with anybody for a few minutes. I'll just stream it, and it'll make it easier. That way you don't have to record it and then upload it to the different places. It'll already be there. You know, if you stream it to Twitch and you make a highlight, you can export that to YouTube, and you don't spend any more bandwidth. So, not that bandwidth's a huge issue with me, but that's like the first Coca-Cola I've had in months. I just looked at it today. I was like, you know, why don't I just have some Coke, and you know, I put it in the freezer first, and it took me 3 hours, but I finished it off. It's not really a thirst quencher, guys. I'll tell you that. Almost used the red on that. Bill, what are you're not paying attention. But you know, doing this technique where you're using the side of the pencil, you can do that for some fairly fine work, as I'm demonstrating here. I don't have the steadiest hand in the world, but this can be done. This can be done absolutely. See, I do have a little bit of a shake. Everybody has a little bit of a shake. What happens with me is I'll concentrate on it, and then I'll press down a little bit too hard, and then things go like this. That's an exaggeration, but that's kind of what it does. Or my hand will just kind of go like that, and it's like, whoa, hold on, slow down. So, get that sharpened up. Do this here. Do this trim. Let's see. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I might make them gold too. I don't know. I don't know what they are exactly, but I'll just do this a very light shade of pink. I'll just do that throughout. Just really, really, really light. See, and again, I'm using the side of the pencil. You can get a lot of control out of this. Not as much as if you're doing this here, but you can still, you're deliberate about it and really soft, and You just relax, you can do it. It's not hard, but it's just not to say it's easy. Coca-Cola is probably the last thing you should be drinking when doing this kind of fine work anyway, because then you'll notice you're shaking a little bit more than you usually are because of the caffeine and sugar. 55 grams of sugar a serving, that's insane. I'm usually drinking Kool-Aid, and I don't mix it full strength either, so. That's what, like 27 a serving? Mixed in regular strength, and I maybe do 2/3. What is that piece there? I'm trying to figure out what this is. See if I can point to it. This here, that might be part of the hair. There's a spot right here next to the bow. Then I see there's hair here, so it's probably part of her. Excuse me. So let's see. Just do a little. Same thing here, just using the side. I sharpened it, and there's a lot of surface area here now, so I can really cover a lot of ground with just using a few strokes. Just lightly gliding it across. No sense in going too nuts with it. See, you can even do the insides here. You do it all. I'll do the same thing here. It's a little scratchy, but so I'm going to go a little bit darker with bows here. Again, I'm being really light with this. I'm doing just a little bit of a transition. A little bit darker where the tie is. A bit darker in there. That's another thing. Don't be afraid to turn this. You know, your range of motion with your hand and your arm, it's not infinite, and you can't go in all directions effectively. Don't be afraid to turn the page. You'll find that there are emotions that are more natural than others, so don't fight what your joint limitations are, or the way you know, whatever direction you move in. Don't let that limit you. There are people that think I can't, it has to stay like this. No, it doesn't have to. Now it's harder if you're using a coloring book, but use whatever you can to your advantage to come up with a better product. There we go. Go super light on this as well. Just a little bit of value. Just like that. So we're coming along. Let's see here. Isn't she cute? It's really cute. Again, this artist did really, really good job. This line art. I want to hire her for some commissions if she's reasonable. I'm sure she is. This right here. If anybody, I'm just gonna drop this link in here. Free line art. So make sure that's down. Share some love for Valentine's Day. Free to color. Or private use, obviously. She does a lot of this stuff. See all the line art she has? It's really cool. Alright, let's keep going. I have a feeling it'll probably get done around the 3-hour mark, so... Oh, I gotta bring chat up again. I can't read it. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I really think that this here is a veil of some sort. This here. So let's see. I just do more of a uniform light red in here. If I want in a little bit, I can add some stuff to that. When you're holding your pencil, you do pretty much go with what makes it comfortable, but you're looking for stability, you know. I hold it this way because that's the way I've always done it. It's very stable. You know, some people do other they figure out other ways to do it, but it's natural to me, and it's keeps things pretty stable. So let's see here. A little bit in there. I know I put pink there where it should be a little bit of red, but there, it's really close. So you got this part over here. Probably just pull out this sienna. Just go over that real light. So those, yeah, I'm gonna make those yellow. I don't know what they are, but I just make them yellow. So let's see. Left on her is a hair, and I'm going to see what I can find for something that's a little bit more purple here, violet. This here. There's this unfortunately kept breaking, but I do have the leads, so that's that color there. It's really all I got for that. I have a few more Crayolas. So I may have to settle with that. What's that? Raspberry? We'll try that. So let's see, it's a Crayola raspberry here. That's too there's too much red in that. It's super dark. This is gonna be even darker than. But I like this last color here. This one. So let's see. Although this is a better contrast here between these two. So let's see. Let's test this out and see. That's the two purples. Let's see if I did this. That's what we'll do. Gosh, what did I do with... Okay. So, raspberry Crayola and let's see what's this, Parma Violet. So we're going to go with this value first and work our way up. So to make a decision as to where the transition is going to be, start with something uniform, like I went over with before. Somewhere up in here. Then I'm going to gradually add more along the bottom here. So I'm just going to, just start with something uniform and then just work my way through. Do the same thing with the bangs, I guess. So probably going to want to leave a little highlight in here as well. So the highlight's going to be about where the transition point's going to be. So just be mindful of what's going on with there. Go with something darker. Ease up as I move along towards the top. I tell you what, like I said before, these Crayolas are actually pretty good. I do like working with them a lot, so. Don't feel bad if you're using Crayolas. They're good. They don't do what Prismacolors do, but they're good. Do a lot with them. Alright, let's see. So now you see the start of the blending process. If I can move this up like this, you can see. Thank you. You can see the transition process right here. So you're going to do the opposite with the second color as you work your way down. And right about near where the top part of the bangs are, where they kind of meet this here, I'm gonna try to leave white so that there's a little bit of highlight there. So there's the raspberry. This is the other color I'm going to use for the other part of the transition. And this is Prismacolor, so you have to be more deliberate and you got to be a little softer with it. But you'll see, again, I'm starting with like just a uniform value. You'll see really subtly how there's a little blending going on in there. That's how you blend stuff without having to. You can use a blending pencil to enhance that if you want. But this is kind of how you start out with it. Uniform shade throughout. Color into the other shade. The thing about this is you're always adding. You're never taking away from it. So you start with white and then you add stuff to it. So that's the way you have to think about doing this kind of stuff. You're not going to be able to take it away. You can only add to it. So that's why you start really light and you work your way down. Because if you don't do that, you're just going to have. You'll have a lot of color, but you're not going to have a lot of variation or anything like that going on. So. Just doing the very edge over here, and just keep going over it a little bit at a time, and you'll add more to it. And then you can see the variation start to take place. Just add a little bit more value up here to the edge. Go over this a little bit if you wish. Do the same thing, going this way. Add more value. The lower you are, add more value. Gradually work your way up. Concentrate on the edges. Just go over it. You don't have to vary your pressure. If you want more control, just don't vary the pressure. Just go over the same area over and over again, and gradually you'll add more color and you'll flatten out more of the little nooks and crannies. And if you're patient, you'll see it take place. It takes longer with the Crayolas, because there's less pigment, but you'll still see it happen. And that's the key, patience. You gotta have patience. So here we go. You need to get a refill of some kind of drink here soon. But you can see the gradients, so you can see the transition point. I need to stop hitting my microphone. Alright, get down there. Little more. Go. I don't know why her rosy cheeks overlap the hair. I couldn't tell you. It was one of the first things I noticed. And I'm like, well, okay, we'll roll with it. It's just stylistically designed to be that way. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. It's cute. Okay, whatever. It works. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. So let's see. Well, it's 10:20. Okay, so this one doesn't have. Where's my break time thing? I just want the text. Crap. Break. That. Yeah, we'll leave it on the top. I'll be back in like a minute. You can walk with me out here to the kitchen. Hopefully I don't stomp around like Godzilla. Because you walk, and since this is voice activated, you know, all of that stuff transfers all the way up to the microphone. So you hear clop, 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 clop. So I try to walk a little bit softly without using my heels. There we go. That was less than a minute. Okay. So we have the manes and the tails left, and we have the dude. So he's going to be blue and purple for sure. So I'll probably use this. I'll break out some of the blue shades. The Prismacolor ones, they're really deep. So I'm probably going to be using Crayolas for those. Like I got some blue shades here. They're really, whew, they put down a lot of color, and it's very dark. I mean, there's I think this is a sky blue here. Cerulean. It's close. Sky's a little bit darker. But this is the lightest blue I have. I might use it. I'm not sure. But I have a lot more manageable blues that I can work with in the Crayolas. I just don't want something really dark, so we'll try those two out. And then I might look at the lighter shade that I have here. Let's see. Crayola light blue. Sky blue. Now I want more of a transition. You're looking at this color here. I'd rather have a transition from here to here. So if I do this, and as I go in, I'm just lightening up, and I go a little heavier as I go out. So sky blue. that. So let's stick with that. That stuff away. And let's see, what else? Do want a darker element in here too, so try the magenta. Too cheap to keep sharpening that pencil and coming up with broken tips all the time, so yeah, I think that'd be a good detail color. So we're going a little bit more pro here. Are the prisms expensive? It depends on where you go. If you go to a place like Michael's, you're gonna pay like full retail. So what I did with that, and I bought that tin, this tin right here. Put this together so I can show it to you. It's a 48 color set. I've seen these go for like up to probably about $60, right? But that's pretty much your suggested retail price. You can get this set on Amazon probably for under 30. So like 25, 26, let me look it up. They are expensive compared to the Crayolas, but you don't have to pay full price. Like, I think even if you go to Dick Blick, you'll pay less. Michael's, it's like, you know, you're paying for the store and the storefront and all the inventory, and so, you're paying for the convenience. It's right there. You could just go home with it. But you know, like I said, I bought that tin 60% off, and I paid like $30 to $40 for it. But you can get them cheaper. The manga set that I bought was something like $12. I'm just gonna look at these up really quick. So let's see. Premier color pencil, soft color, 72 count. Let me pull this down so you don't see the zip code, even though you could probably figure it out anyway. So we're looking at 2840. That's prime. So right now it's 2840, and that's for 72 of them. So that's a really, really, really freaking good price. $48 pack, what I have here. It got marked down. It's just super marked down now. $15.75 for 48 of them. You get a really good range of colors with these two. So if you go online, yeah, it'll work out. But again, you could buy a Crayola 50 pack for like $7, right? So, but I mean, it's not outside of the realm, you know. And like these here that I bought, these are knockoff Copics. I mean, the Copic markers, they're gonna run you $4 to $6 a piece. They are really good. They are worth the price if you're really doing a lot of the stuff. It has a very wide range of colors. These knockoffs, they'll get you by, and it's like $25 for like, I think there's like 30 in here. So you can get away with cheaper. You won't get the same quality, but you know, especially when you're starting out. Like, I mean, I didn't just start out coloring, but you know, as far as the alcohol-based markers, I never really played around with them. So this was an opportunity to get something that was fairly cheap, and I tried it out, and you know, I enjoyed doing it, and didn't break the bank doing it either. But yeah, $16 for the 48 pack of Christmas colors. That's really good. It's really good. You will find that sometimes the leads inside the pencil are already broken, and as you're sharpening, you're gonna lose tips. And I heard that you could like bake them in the oven at a super low temperature, and it may actually help put the lead back together again, kind of congeal it or something. I don't know. It's kind of just something that I heard about. I don't know if it's actually true, but I ran into like one black. There's a magenta in here, and I think there was another one I was having an issue with. And the other ones I haven't had an issue with. And it's just, you know, the manufacturing process got a little cheaper, and you know. But you know, for the most part, you're probably not going to have an issue. So again, we're going into pro mode here. I'm just using the what's left of the lead. So I'm just holding it like this. I'm not really using my fingers to color it in. I'm using more my wrist and whatever. So it just gives me a little bit more stability. This is part just me being cheap and not wanting to go through like half the pencil to try to get a good tip out of it. The other part's just a challenge. You know, like how well can I do this with just holding on to this little tiny lead here? And you know, how far can I go? You gotta spice it up a little bit, give yourself a little challenge here and there. So it's very little finger movement. There is some, but I'm using the arm, maybe a little bit of the wrist here and there, but using a lot of the arm in here. Alright, let's see. This is very, very fine in here, so may not work too well. I'll give it a shot. And you know, don't expect to just like download this, print it up, and then just automatically be able to do what I'm doing right now. Don't fight that. don't do it. Don't do it. I forgot which brown I used. He has some tassels on there too. I kind of want to match that up. It was in here. Was it? Gosh, was it that one? Or this one here. We'll do that. Looks pretty close. Do you have any more tassels around? Any tassels flying around here? See any? Okay. But yeah, you know, like you and Maddie have been coloring for a little while and getting better at it. So yeah, why not? Why not get some Prismacolors, especially at that price? You'll have more vivid colors that you can work with. You have to go really easy on them, you know, because there is a lot of color in them. There's not a lot of filler. It's a lot of pigment. So you just have to be really patient with it, and yeah, you'll work it out. Gives you a challenge. You know, my niece is just like, I love the colors, and she's like, Rah! I go, you know, it's like you like you colored the whole page, but it's like you went through like a quarter of the pencil already. You don't have to do that. She didn't realize. This stuff was really cheap too. It was like I bought the manga set. Let's see if I can pull up that manga set. It's really good. Oh, let's see. It's well, there's a coloring starter kit too. Let's see what this is. Oh, okay. It's got two blender pencils and a blender sharpener, and that's 2409. Which sharpener does it come with? Does it come with that janky one? This is not showing. Oh, I see. Yeah, it does. It comes with that that sharpener that I had a lot of trouble with. Where's the manga set? 24 counts of bestseller. That's only $9. Holy crap. Here we go. This is a good one to start out with too if you're doing line art and some basic coloring. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you this one here too. I bought this. I bought this set, and then I think did I buy this for my niece or something, or she bought it on her own? I helped her out with it. So it was one of the two. But I remember getting some pencils for her. So it's this one right here. 1286. It comes with the soft core pencils. It also comes with these Verithins, and those are used more for line art. You know, when you're actually like when you do your sketch and then you do over it with these bold colors here. It's a harder lead. Unfortunately, this black one that I got in the set that I have, that's suffering the broken lead thing. So, but that's a good set to start out with too. It's 23, 18 soft core, 5 Verithin for line work, and this cardboard. It comes in a cardboard box, and you can turn that into a stand. So it's a good thing to start out with. Okay. Say hi Outer Linux. How's it going? I caught your message on Discord a little bit too late. But I noticed you streamed a little bit earlier when I was at work, and you weren't on very long. So I wanted to kind of jump in, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's gone. But let's see. I'm looking at stuff in here. See what else I got to do. So there's got some details in here. I'll do that the same color. This magenta. Can't even really see the tip of this, so that's part of the challenge. This is what cheap guys like me do. But it's a challenge. Also, it's another thing I can kind of point out real quick. I can find it. I had an adventure at Michael's some years ago. I was looking for a pencil extender, and they thought I was full of shit. This is a pencil extender. So if you have a pencil that's like super short, but you need, you know, more shaft. No, it's not going to come out right. But the only way I was able to get one of these at Michael's was it came in a set. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, pencil extender. Just slide this little sleeve up, lock it in place. Come on, lock in place. Go. So now you have more to work with here. So if you have a pencil that's only like maybe like this long, like 2 inches long, then you actually have more here to work with. That way you don't have to throw away something that's, you know, a couple inches. You can still get more out of it. So it's kind of a cheapskate tool, but it does help. You may want to use it on a regular size one and give you even more broad strokes, you know, like this. Make really wide arcs, you know, but okay. See, we'll do the cheap magenta tip on this as well. Just like that. Where else should I go with this? I'm not sure. So need to figure out some transition here with color as well, unless I just want to do regular shading. There's a lot more covered up here. I think what I'll do in here is I'm going to do the same cream color that I used over here. Like there seems to be just like some kind of an undershirt, so go ahead and get this in here. Do this for a little bit and then I'll check the chat again. What's going on? So do the same thing over here with his knee. Let's get that in. And again, like what I said about this a couple of times, I actually printed this on sketch paper. So you just cut it to size, you know. This is technically this was technically a little bit wider than 8.5. It comes out of a 9-inch sketchbook, but it's less than that. So I just trimmed off a little bit. I'll show you what I used too. It's one of these guys here. It's not great, but it does the job. This is by X-Acto. Just a paper cutter. I think I would have been much better off just getting a big bulk paper slicer at Harbor Freight for a few dollars more, because it can have a hard time trimming prints. I do some trimming, but for this stuff it's fine. It cut a nice straight line and everything. So okay, yeah, cool. You're doing another test. Need someone to tell you how it looks. I'll have to make sure that I'm getting notifications from your streams so that I don't miss them. One workspace, bunch of data going in terminals, show how well it's working. You have my paint. Okay, yeah. What kind of bitrate are you using right now? Because if you're doing stuff like that, you really don't need a whole lot of bandwidth, because there's not really a lot of motion going on. You know, if you're playing like an FPS game and there's a lot of spinning and stuff like that, then you need a higher bit rate so that it can capture all this stuff. If it's just a screen and you're drawing stuff on there, you don't need too much. You could probably get away with 1K, really, and still have a pretty good image. I mean, I'm streaming at 1500 right now. I knocked it down from 2, and when I first started, I was at like 3, 2.53, and I was like, I really don't see much of a difference here. Why not just stream at a lower bit rate? That way, you're not creating as much of a bottleneck in your own network, and you're helping out other people who are maybe watching on mobile or just kind of like have a DSL connection or something. But I remember you said something about bandwidth issues, so it'll probably help you out. I mean, there was last winter I had a lot of problems with my internet in general, and there were some times where I had to drop it down to about 1200 or 1000, and I was still dropping frames, but at least I could stream, and there was enough buffering going on Twitch's end that the frame drops didn't look nearly as bad when people were watching than when I watched a VOD afterwards. I was like, oh, it kind of worked out. So it becomes something where it's at least watchable. So I'm not sure how bad your bandwidth issues are, but let's see. Sarah, do the ruffles as well. Again, I'm not using any reference. You know what colors these outfits are really supposed to be. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. I know gonna need red and green in there, and use something else in there. Probably use red for over here. So let's see. I'll use this one for the ribbon, so I don't forget. Let's see, what time is it? 10:45. Okay. I'll do the same thing here. Get all of this out of the way while I think about if I want to do any blending in the outfit or just I don't see like a lot of like this. I have a lot of area to work with for transition. I really don't have that much here. There's a lot of stuff broken up, so it's going to be a little more static, unfortunately. But she managed to get a lot of detail in, considering that these are basically chibis. Good job to this person who did line art. Really awesome. I did. Crap, that's supposed to be green. God damn it. Rip. That's it. Throw the whole thing away, right? Nah. That's okay. I messed up. People mess up. Oh well. See, if I try to color over, it's just gonna look muddy. Ah, damn it. Alright, so there's a little brown one there. Oh well. Let's see. Even I mess up. Let's see. I gotta go into here. I don't know what that part is. You're streaming and watching me. Crazy. I won't be too much longer. 2 hours 35 minutes. I want to wrap it up at around the 3-hour mark, and I'm getting closer to the finish here. So I just got to finish his outfit, his hair, and the manes and the tails here. So still haven't decided if I'm going to do different colors for those or just do more like brown colors with that. Oh, he doesn't need me. You kidding? Nah. He's a lot more well versed in that stuff than I am, for sure. He's he's doing stuff that he's working with hardware that's not normally used for what he's doing with the hardware. He's trying stuff out, so I mean, pretty much anybody, if you figure out how to use OBS or something, you got a halfway decent computer, you can stream pretty much whatever you want. And you won't have too many problems when he's streaming from a Pi. So, I mean, what you can stream from like mobile devices, stuff like that, It's, but I can't say the hardware is more specialized, but the environment is a little bit different, and yeah, but so I still haven't decided whether to do any blending or transition. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a transition in here, just a tiny bit. Gonna get too fancy. But yeah, I think most of it's just gonna be some more solid colors. Oh, I need to do that part. Go. So what am I going to do with the hair? Go with a similar thing to what I did over here, but I don't want to use the same colors exactly for the hair. I want to do it a little bit differently. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go about that. Let's see. So I'm going to do the sky blue here. Alright, this transition will be a little interesting. So, just going over it lightly and just go over the same spots over and over again to add more value, and then just kind of go out a little bit. Consistent pressure. Do that. Just really subtle stuff. So we're going to be getting into the home stretch here pretty soon. Cool. The color in this arm, same blue, so that I don't have it mixed around too much with the other parts in here. So that's going to be purple. Or violet, I should say. And underneath here, I'm going to add more value and just going to do the same thing. Just kind of go over it over and over and over again. So I'm kind of like thinking that there'd be like a little bit of a shadow here too. So that's like kind of some kind of armor plating or something. Not really sure, but so what I'm reading from it, just looking at it. So do more uniform stuff in here. Probably gonna do these straps in here. I'll just do the magenta with that as well. Just like that. Okay, let's catch up with chat. Yeah, you know, I did notice that the Picardo's mobile app really isn't all that great. The web browser seems to work a lot better, but at least they do have an app. Obviously not nearly as big as like Twitch or YouTube, but it's where a lot of digital illustrators go. So I guess. That's what you'll see. You go to their front page and then you just start browsing. Everybody's like using Photoshop or Paint Tool Sai, and they're all like drawing chibis. So if that's what you're doing, that's it seems to be that's the hot place to go to. And there are a lot of Asians that go there too. So and you'll see generally they're playing a lot of loud music and there's no microphone and there's no webcam or anything like that. So they don't really have the production values. They just fire up a stream and they just start drawing. And when they get done, they say, "Bye, guys." Just type it in the chat. "Bye, guys. We'll see you later. Thank you." So, I mean, at least it's something. It is a viable alternative, but yeah, their app it leaves a lot to be desired for sure. I was not impressed by it either. I think I remember sitting there going, "Wow, this is garbage." So, there are drawbacks and advantages to using the different platforms. Like YouTube's dashboard compared to Twitch, and Twitch's dashboard used to be garbage, but I like the Twitch dashboard now. The YouTube dashboard's a little bit more janky. It's more clunky. YouTube's chat also really sucks compared to Twitch. So the ease of use and the features that you have on Twitch, there's more there. But with YouTube, you have a wider audience. It makes things more accessible to people. There are more people that have YouTube accounts than Twitch accounts. So that, and you stream it, and it's all, you can set it to automatically save to YouTube, and you can just, when you're done, it'll put it out like an hour later, and people can just watch it whenever. Which is a little more complicated. You have to make highlights or record it while you're doing it, and upload, and then make it as, because it has all that. It just doesn't store it automatically. So YouTube has an advantage with that. Then there's Hitbox. So people are just having a lot of issues with that one, so it's not something I would even recommend. If Hitbox is even still around, it may be gone now. I don't know. Just going by like some stuff that I was catching up with on YouTube last year. People multi-streaming. Okay, let's see. It likes to drop, but it uses levels. It levels out at some point. Okay. 30 kilobits. Yeah. All I did was I streamed there once, and I used pretty much the same bit rate that I was using on Twitch at the time, and I thought it looked okay. It looked more compressed, so there's a different compression algorithm going on. But watching the live streams, I did watch a couple of live streams, and they looked pretty good. So let's see. I'm gonna do something about his hair. So how do we resolve that? Probably shades of blue here. Do a transition with some blue. Gonna break out this light cerulean blue. Probably stick with the sky blue, and probably use something for the tips to something in the same range that I can just kind of darken up. So Let's check this out. This should be the lighter shade here. Gosh, I don't know. They look really similar. I think the magenta would look really good, but that's what I have to work with. So let's give this another go and see if I can actually get some something workable out of here. This mulberry. So really hoping I can get this to work. I think those two colors would be a really good transition. It's a little snappy, isn't it? But I did a YouTube test stream as I was troubleshooting my my connection, and I did get a more stable stream on YouTube. For whatever it's worth, it was a more stable stream, so could probably try that out. With Twitch, it's been, you know, part of me it's been saying, why don't I just go somewhere else? And then you have the other part of me that's like, you know, I made a lot of friends here, and there are a lot of people that, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a decent amount of people who've been loyal, and who I'll see from time to time. So it's overall it's a pretty good experience. There's see, look at this shit. See? I didn't break that. This is already broken inside here. This is what you're gonna run into with the Prismacolor sometimes. It's really unfortunate. It's probably broken all the way through. It really sucks. I want to use this color. I'm gonna have to suck it up. Oh man. It's also this Crayola. It's similar. Just end up using this. It's a little bit lighter, but it's a pretty close match. It's not as vivid, but it should work. Hey, I tried. So now I got 3 little nubs. Great. It's fantastic. Okay. So let's start with the sky blue, and it'll should I do the same thing I did here? Yeah, we'll do it. Santa. Gotta rely on the Crayolas, but that's okay. This is proof you can do the same kind of thing with Crayolas. So don't feel bad if you can't get Prismacolors, just get Crayolas. It's fine. A lot of that can be boiled down to technique anyway, so you can learn a lot of technique just by using this stuff. Not to worry about blowing through like a $1 pencil or something. So same even pressure, and I just go over the parts that I want darker more often than the other parts. And that's probably something else I should probably bring up here. Yeah, the Twitch has an advantage in the chat for sure. Absolutely. It's like you know, I'm running a TC chat, you know, and that way I don't have to use the browser at all. But you can also pop out the browser chat, you know, so then it's in its own window. You can just work with it. YouTube really doesn't do that. There is sort of a pop out, but yeah. And then there's you know, the YouTube chat keeps scrolling. You can't stop it, and when you reach a certain point, you lose the chat. You run TC chat, it's actually recording stuff. There's still a limit to it, but it's easier to work with. And you can run Chatty, or you can use another IRC client. You know, if you feel so inclined to you know, work with the API and stuff. So, but here's something right here. I'm gonna kind of go over a little bit. I'm using Strathmore sketch paper. You can get this fairly cheap online, or if you go like Michael's. Right now, Michael's is doing like a buy one get one free. So you could consider it like marking this down like 25% or something. So, but you can get piles of these. I've already used a bunch of it. This is not the best stuff in the world, but it works okay. It's got a pretty good surface on it. It's fairly thick. But I also use Canson sketch and drawing paper. So as far as, you know, some of them are in these like ring binders, and others are you just kind of pull them out or like glued. Hey, look at that. There's a sketch that I tried to start out with, and I didn't finish it. Look at that. I don't even remember who I was drawing. Maybe it was Kanata. I don't know. But this is regular drawing paper. This is Canson, and it's a little smoother. About the same thickness, but it's a little smoother. And this one is perforated on the top, so you don't have to cut stuff off. You just tear it right off. But what I found is that if you really want to work with sketching, you get a smaller pad. This is a really good pad. That's you just carry it around. You know, it's nice and small. It's 5.5 by 8.5. I've been using this on stream, you know. Not drawing concepts on it and all kinds of stuff. So even drew the ponies. Even did that. I put them away, so I can't really show them off right now, but just get yourself some sketch paper, get it on sale at Michael's, and go to town. I have stacks of them. I kept buying this stuff, and now it's like, yeah, it's a good price, but I already have like 4 or 5 sketch pads. I got plenty of paper to last me for a while. So, let's see. Yeah, darker a pencil is, the softer it is. They have different, I have the different ones in here too. You know, it's like your B's and 2B's and your H's, and I forgot exactly which ones were softer and harder, but there's there are grading charts you can get online, easy. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, every time you buy a 2-pack of canvas, there's a hole punched in the back. Yeah, yeah. They're really rough with them. The pre-stretched canvas things that they sell. Yeah. But yeah, that's like to go along with talking about the regular pencils. The Prismacolors give more vivid and or bright colors, or more value because there's more pigment in here than filler. With the Crayolas, you pay less for them, and one of the reasons why is because they wobble. But another reason is that the leads are harder. So while there's still pigment, there's more filler stuff than there's pigment, compared to the Prismacolors. You still you still get really good color out of these, but the colors are going to be lighter. They're not going to be as vivid. So, but again, I like them. I like them. They work pretty well. Like with the Prismacolors, I could get probably twice the color out of them than I can with the Crayola. Like if I had a Prismacolor that was exactly the same color, I could just go over real light and get like almost the same kind of shade as that is. But it's all stuff you can read online too if you're interested in that. It'll go over all that stuff for you. That's how I learned. It's pretty much how I learn anything. I just read on it online or whatever. Nothing wrong with being self-taught for sure. So just gonna put a little bit of stuff in. Let's see. I'm just gonna use this one. Just gonna use the side. Try to go for an overall. Go in here a little bit as well. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit of transition. I want to leave this part like kind of a highlight too, so see what I can do with this. Go over the parts you want darker. You just use steady pressure and just go over it more. If you really want to get fancy, you can add some white highlights with little white designer's gouache. It's a rather thick, heavily pigmented paint, but this is used for mainly for designers doing traditional design work. And just this is like $3 or $4 for the tube, and just use a paintbrush, or I use a toothpick. It's been a while since I opened this up, so it's gonna be a little difficult. But it's a lot like whiteout. It's really thick. So you just take a little bit, and that's for some other time. I won't need to do that here. That looks awfully straight. I'm gonna do the sides a little bit more. And again, I'm using my arm here. I'm not using my fingertips, and I pulled back on it. Not that it's really important here, but like if you choke up really close over here, sometimes you can't see the tip. So with something like this, if you pull back a little bit, you can actually see what's going on around here. And when you use that with leveraging your body parts and having them work for you better, you can get more control out of it. So let's see, I'm gonna do a little bit of the tips in here, just kind of mix it in, tiny bit. So now he's got a pretty good transition going on with his hair. It's probably completely inaccurate. He's probably blonde, you know, but whatever. I just went with my own thing. So we got to do his glove, the rest of the bouquet there, then we got to figure out what we're gonna do with the horse manes and stuff. Thank you. It's a lot of fun too. It's always a lot of fun. Early on, I was really frustrated, and I just kind of started teaching myself these things as I was going along. I was like trying stuff on my own and seeing what would kind of work out. And that's when, you know, like when I bought that book on basic pencil techniques. I have another one just for colored pencils too. And I'm looking at the stuff in these books. I'm like, oh my god, I already know these. So I wasted some money. But there's still good books to have around. Let's see. I'll show you the colored pencils. I showed the other one online already. But this has all different kinds of techniques. You can see the same kind of stuff going on here. It's a little bit less refined in some areas, but stuff like this. Juxtaposed colors. You know, see? Like it says, you know, means arranging areas of color side by side rather than overlaying them. Blended spot layering. This is a really good book. I went through it a couple times, but I noticed it's like I don't really need to do a lot of this stuff. If I want to do other things and try, see here's stuff here on how to create new colors by mixing stuff, and you know what, like with this here, you have these two colors that are clashing together, but as you layer them together, you're like forming almost like a shadow. It's really cool stuff. And that's just with two colors, you know. These are all just different techniques. So I'm sure at some point it may come in a little handy if I want to try some new things. Right now I just like to do blending and stuff and transitions. Just basic stuff that I just ended up teaching myself. Let's see. I need the black again, so I'm just gonna go in really light and just do a little value here with the glove. Nothing too fancy. Let's go do that bouquet. What color is this here? Yellow ochre. See what that looks like. Yeah, we'll do that just very light if I can. I can't really see the tip because it's almost the same color as the pencil itself. Cool. All right. This part here, probably break out the yellow again. 11:19. Okay. And close. Yeah, you love to color with Maddie? Yeah. Like what you were saying last night, been doing a lot of coloring with her and saying she's really been taking it seriously. That's really cool. It's really awesome to hear. Oh, there's a little... What is that anyway? That's not a piece of hair. That's like something else. I think I'll make that yellow as well. So go hunt down the yellow again. I thought at first it was like part of the hair, but then looking at it, it's like, that's got some sharp edges there. So I'm not sure what it is. Forgot the ears. Bill, you forgot the ears. All that time you forgot the damn ears. You gotta be kidding me. I don't remember which colors I used. Oh boy. If I can jog my brain, I could rewind the VOD, but I'm sure that's actually going to help me. I used that. Yeah, I definitely tested it out. So. And going over the outside more often than the inside to kind of make part of that a little bit darker. So do that. It's not the right color, but it'll work for our purposes. So then there was this shade here. If anything rings a bell. Because that was, I was using, it wasn't a tan, but it was, let me look at it and check it out. So the tan. That is this here, and I don't think I used it. It was, it wasn't beige. What else do I have? Wasn't any of those. Way to go, Bill. Should have written down the colors that you used. Or better yet, actually color in the ears. It wasn't Harvest Gold. I know it wasn't Harvest Gold. There's a light brown, but I used that on the other one. Oh, crap. Early doctor's appointment, huh? Okay. You're probably heading off to bed. Best of luck to you as always. Try to get some rest. Chocolate. I did not use chocolate. What the heck was it? This was not light umber either. I used that on the other one too. What did I use? What did I use, Bill? What was it? Jello's not here. I bet he would be able to tell me what it was. The whole stream screams to a halt because I don't remember what this color was. It's not this. Think. Heck was it? Keep looking at this light brown. It's not that one. Maybe it was beige. This Prismacolor. That was part of it. Let's see. I don't think so, but it's close. The importance of palettes, people. Importance of palettes. It's close enough though. Again, it'll work. It'll serve the purpose. So these mains here, what do I do with this? Stick with browns or go with something else? Okay, yeah, we can talk tomorrow. Yeah, she's doing transfusions pretty much. So excuse me. Oh, let's see. Got a pretty much a chocolate horse and a beigey type of horse. What's this color that he used out here? Gosh, I don't remember. Nuts. But what I can do here is, let's see. Some of these I don't want to mix up because this light umber here, I already have that in the set. It came with the manga set. Same with the, which one was it? One of those browns is like the same. Chocolate? Yeah, it was chocolate. Use the Tuscan red, but that was more for these. I think this will be good if I start dark and work my way up to something lighter. If I start with a uniform shade and then again work my way up. Just do a little of this. Do the same thing here. At this point, I almost don't want to turn the pencil because I'm forming a nice flat edge here. like a wedge. I can cover more ground here, more paper with something nice and uniform. And then I can turn it and I can do a little bit more sharper with the edge. So thank you, Nightbot. So I used to have a music playing. Yeah, lightly color on the cloud heart and fade it. I could do that. It's a little hard to do a gradual shift, like say, like go inwards or go outwards when it's like in the background. But I could do something really subtle with it. I'll just use a shade of red and just work with it. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out this Tuscan red, and it's gonna be probably part of this as well. But I do the very tips. This Tuscan red, which is really, it's just like a brown red. There's a lot of brown in it. There we go. Now the other mane and tail. So yeah, I'll do an overall color. I gotta go really light because it's a really dark color. Actually, probably gonna look a little scratchy at first. So we'll do the chocolate in here. It's funny, I got music playing in my head right now. YouTube doesn't like you to play music, so I can't play music. Alright, Tuscan Red all in here, and there's not much of a tip there, so I mean have to give myself more surface area. Oh, on the outside of it? Nah, I'm gonna leave everything that's outside of the line art. I'm just gonna leave that white. I don't want to wipe that away. I might actually put some color on that. There's a little piece that was kind of got dislodged and got on the page. And again, you'll notice, you know, if you're using the side of the pencil, you're going over really light, you're filling in less surface area. Again, going in with the chocolate. It's a 3-hour coloring stream. 3.5. Good Lord. 3.5 hours. Well, I hope people learned something, for sure. And let's see, to just kind of break it up a little bit, I'm going to throw in a little bit this red here. The tips. So give you a nice little transition color. Might look a little bit muddy, but it'll help. You don't want to use blue for this, that's for certain. Red shade will be okay. So we'll put that over there. Chocolate. Make sure I don't have too, let's see here. Too light umber. Sienna brown. Burnt ochre. It's a Tuscan red. Throw that over there. So this. What else? Alright, just putting stuff away. Pretty much done. I have like 3 or 4 Prismacolor blacks, so okay, that's all set. It's light umber and this is light umber, so this goes in here. Do these two. That is Crayola, Crayola, Crayola. Parma Violet, hot pink. I think the hot pink. So I am getting a lot of mileage out of these, so. Really cheap on Amazon now. About half what I, less than half of what I paid at Michael's, even with the coupons and stuff. But there was a time that they were fairly expensive on Amazon as well, or Dick Blick's. So probably I'll just do a regular old light overall shade. No blending pencils. Well, I could probably demonstrate that through something that I already did over here. My little scrap piece. So getting hungry again. So. And again, you kind of want to stay in the same direction. You will see that there's a difference. You'll see that the grain changes if you change the direction abruptly. Although you could use that to your advantage too if you want to add some texture, some variation to it, but for the most part you just want to keep it uniform if you can. But yeah, by adding direction you can it helps with certain effects that you're using. I'm just doing a uniform shade. So let's see, something like this here. If you wanted to blend a little bit better, there's a couple of ways you can do this. So you got your liquid-based pencil blender, and you just kind of do this. This is liquefying the pencil. So it's kind of like using, like if you're using watercolor pencils, and then you use a water brush. This helps fill in all the little holes, or I shouldn't say holes, it's just the little valleys and stuff. So the caveat with this is you want to clean the brush after you're done doing your thing. I also have some Prismacolor ones here as well. So these would probably work better. They got a wider tip and it's more like a brush tip. So just like that. Just cleaning off the tip. I mean, you see, it's still going to be discolored, but that won't actually go on to what you're working on as long as you go over this. I mean, I'm sure after a long time you may have to change it, but and then you have these colorless pencils here that you can use as well. So here's a method with the colorless. These are a lot harder, but they serve mostly to just kind of flatten out the paper. So you can do the same thing with this, and it makes it a little bit bolder. You need steady, firm pressure. Now, once you do this, you're not really going to be able to go over it again. So this is kind of it's like a finisher. So you'll see a subtle effect here. Just makes the transition a little more interesting. But no, some of that actually came through on the thing. Oops. Used a little bit too much liquid blender there. Okay. That's why you have a rag with you too. So. Looking at that, do I have a nice clean area I can work with here? Just kind of go over this a little bit. Awesome. I think this is done. See how some stuff came off there? So you don't want to rub on it too hard. You'll start blending colors in bad ways. But just easy. You can handle it a little bit more. Yeah, you got watercolor pencils. I was thinking about it and getting a brush pen. Oh, it came with your typewriter ink reel. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there are different kinds of water brushes you can buy. They're really cool. That being said, you have to work with a really thick piece of paper, and sometimes you have to do a wash first to help eliminate the paper bubbling. You know, it's like you pin it down on something, and then you just lightly wash the whole thing, and then it'll shrink and stuff. But it keeps everything nice and flat, and that way you're prepping it for any watercolor work that you want to do. That way it doesn't further change the paper. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's and I don't have any watercolor paper. I got something close to that. Got some Bristol here. It's a 100-pound paper, so it's very smooth, very thick. And I have some illustration paper. It's labeled as illustration paper, but it's basically Bristol. And then there's watercolor paper, which is even thicker, and it has like a texture on one side. So, or mixed media. Mixed media is another one that's a lot like that. But I don't have any watercolor stuff yet. Pastels. Really only touched on them lightly. But, got shades of gray, and then I have some primary colors here too. I only used them a little bit here and there just to kind of play around with them. They were pretty cheap. You see a Michael's brand. $5 or $6 for like a package or something like that. So let's see if this will work. Turn this on autofocus. Do that. Oh, okay. Yeah, the thing with the brush on the other end. It actually has two. They both do. This one's smaller, cheaper, and you have your Prismacolor one. There's a nice fine tip on one side, and then there's another one. This is actually this is flexible. I don't know if you can see this, but it's flexible. It flexes. Works really good. This one, it's less quality, but you know, you can get by with it. It's also flexible. It's smaller. Has less of it in there, so yeah. I used this one first, and you know, then I used this one. It was actually delivering more. I didn't realize it. But they're a few dollars as well. Let's see. And these are cheapest, but you don't get the same kind of effect from them. They're easy to work with, but I recommend just trying everything out and see what you like. So let's see if we can capture some detail here and see if we can get it to focus correctly. Come on. Let me check that. No, I turned it on. Rip. It's on autofocus. What's going on? Why you do this to me? Ah, there we go. You can see all the lovely details. Super happy with how the horses came out. It's really cool. And, you know, I can go over this stuff with the blender if I wish. I think I'm just gonna leave it. So there we have it. Pretty cool. Cool stuff. Happy with it. Turn this back. Turn the autofocus back off so it doesn't start freaking out on me. So yeah, I might do another video in the future just going over techniques and just like a 10-minute, 15-minute thing and figure that out. But I really wanted to put this one up on YouTube so I can just talk about stuff and actually upload something to YouTube. So with that being said, for the sake of the YouTube video, this will be the end of it, and that way I can know exactly when to